Hello guys, I'm Rio and today I'm gonna talk about quite possibly one of the top 5 video games of all time and a timeless masterpiece by Ubisoft, Prince of Persia, Warrior Within. Remember Ubisoft actually used to make good games and not scam their consumers? Yeah, good times indeed. And this game was a huge part of my life growing up, and not to mention I had my first exposure to metal rock music through this game because man, this game has some amazing OSTs and some amazing songs from the band Godsmack like I Stand Alone and Straight Out of Line. Anyway, let me give you a quick recap of the story first. So this unnamed Prince of Persia had opened the sands of time in the first game, which infected everyone, including his own father. But somehow he managed to revert back to a time where he had never opened the sands and freed himself from the horror of releasing it. Or so he thought. According to this old man,
whosoever shall open the sands must die.
And so an unstoppable monster named Dahaka, who is the guardian of the timeline, chased him to fulfill his destiny. After getting chased for almost 7 years, Prince finally had enough. He decided to take control of his life and sailed for the island of time to stop the creation of the sands in the first place. But he gets attacked by this beautiful woman and her crew in the middle of his journey to the island. Then Prince showed his unparalleled combat skill, did a bit of pole dancing, and then had a one-on-one dance with that woman only for her to defeat him and push him into the deep sea water. But this stubborn dude somehow found his way to the island and picked up a wooden stick to defend himself since he had no swords on him. Then he drank from this magic fountain. Oh, and by the way, in this franchise, water restores your health apparently. I really want to know what's in that because it just might give me the nutrition I need to look like Arnold, because how exactly can water fend off all the damage you have taken? Anyway, then we met the woman again and she tried to ambush the prince with her lackeys, and obviously they were no match for the coolest guy ever in video game history. He took their weapon and finished them off and continued chasing the woman. Then a guy came into existence out of nowhere through a bunch of crows, and Prince took care of him too. Then after defeating a couple more enemies, we passed through this water curtain and saw the woman going through a magical portal which apparently took us back in time in the past. After passing through some traps, defeating a couple more enemies, we saw this weird creature with vines coming out of him, and then we finally found the woman again and she was fighting another beautiful woman. Man, women used to be so beautiful back in the day, especially in Ubisoft games. Anyway, like a good Samaritan, we saved that woman, and then the woman in black dropped the hardest bar and blew up.
Fool. Don't you know? You cannot change your fate.
Then everything started to fall apart. Prince threw the woman to the other side and she just walked away. Anyway, after a few more gymnastic moves, we found another portal, but this time it wasn't activated. So we activated it and came back into the present and saw a glimpse of Dahaka for the first time. After some traversal, we finally got chased by the Dahaka for the first time and made a run for it. As a kid, this Dahaka dude used to frighten me to the core. I literally couldn't sleep out of his fear. Anyway, then we discovered this supposedly invincible monster cannot pass through water. Then we went back in the past and came across that viney creature again, but this time he threw a hatchet at us and tried to kill us.
That was close.
Anyway, then we met the woman in red in the hourglass chamber and she told us we need to open the huge door by activating 2 towers to meet the Empress. And she gave us a weapon which would allow us to navigate through other towers on the island. So we used it on the central hall and the lever rose up from the ground. And we used the lever to create a path towards the first tower, and then after a few more combat dances here and one Dahaka chase there, we activated the tower and went back to the central hall only to find out the woman standing there. Then she spewed up some philosophical BS I didn't care about and gave us another sword. And then Prince said, "Yo girl, you forgot to tell me your name." And I was like, "Bro, we have been controlling your character for hours now and we still don't know your name."
Ironic.
Then she told us her name was Kaileena. Anyway, we activated the second tower and just when we were about to go to the throne room, the Dahaka and the viney creature appeared at the same time. But we dodged and the Dahaka took the other creature instead. And then we went into the throne room, but it turns out Kaileena is the Empress. No wonder I have so much trust issues since childhood. People like Big Smoke and Kaileena were the first examples of betrayal, and that shit stuck with me for the rest of my life. Anyway, then we had a fight and she blew up into smithereens and Prince was finally free. Or so he thought. Dahaka came back and threw us into a cave, and then Prince realized it was him who created the sands of time in the first place. Then we found out about this mask of the rays, which would take us way back in time and give us another chance to rectify our our mistake by forcing Kaileena into the present and killing her there. So then we went on a journey to get that mask and turned ourselves into that viney thing. But we could only take it off if our other self died. And then after a few moments we realized we were actually helping our alter ego instead of trying to kill him, and didn't even know it the first time around. And then we finally made it to the central hall, and it was happening like before, but this time we learned from the past and dodged the Haka and let the other prince die instead. So our prince finally had the chance to end this loop. So he went into the throne room and tried to convince Kaileena to come into the present, but she was having none of it. She was gonna kill Prince nevertheless, so we had no choice but to push her into the present. Now the canon ending is Prince defeating the Dahaka by using the water sword, for which you would need to get 9 life upgrades. Anyway, so Prince finally defeated the Dahaka and set sail for Babylon, only to find out it's blazing in flames, because by undoing the creation of the sands of time, he has also undone everything that happened in the first game, and the vizier is back again. Prince of Persia Warrior Within will always be a beacon in gaming industry. The storytelling, the music, the combat, the traversal, the voice acting, everything was on point. They completely revolutionized combat in that game and went from a somewhat lighthearted prince to a very toughened and dark prince in the second game, and so did the atmosphere. And the compelling storytelling about time traveling was definitely far ahead of its time. Now while playing this game for this video, I realized a couple of things. In the first game, Prince reverted everything back to normal, but it was his destiny to travel to the island of time to escape his fate. Dahaka just gave him that motivation. I don't think it was Dahaka's agenda to kill Prince. He just gave him the push to fulfill his destiny of going to the island of time and killing the Empress, and then all the other events that unfolded later on. Whether Prince reverted everything back to normal in the first game or not, he always had to travel to the island of time. It was his destiny to open the sands of time, and it was his destiny to travel to the island of time. I say this because there were many times in the game where Dahaka could have instantly obliterated us, but he didn't. Instead, he pushed us to a path that enabled us to complete our tasks. I get it, in the game if you stand for too long, he kills you, and it is necessary to push the story forward gameplay wise. But lore wise, I think Dahaka was just pushing me to a certain path to maintain the time loop of Prince trying to change his fate and creating the sands instead. And our Prince was the first Prince in that time loop who managed to break the cycle. But it really didn't matter in the end, because he still couldn't save his family and friends. I honestly miss old Ubisoft when they used to create masterpieces like this, but now all they do is create games that are essentially cash grabs. But we can definitely appreciate the work they did before, and Prince of Persia Warrior Within just might be their greatest creation of all time. Thank you so much guys for watching. Let me know what you think about this game, and let me know if you agree with my theory in the end. I love yapping about video games and stuff, so if you're in for that, hit that subscribe button and hit the thumbs up button if you liked the video. That's all for today folks, and I'll see you guys in the next one.